Hey, welcome to the Crypto Hour of Power. This time, the man himself is in the studio, and we've got the cameras on, so anything could possibly happen. And an excellent guest, a great bloke who we've had on in the past, back in radio land of Edge, which still very much exists. But welcome to the Crypto Hour of Power. Would you like to do the official introductions, Brandon?
For the start with, mate, it's just an absolute pleasure to be in person with you again, mate.
Oh, look, I wish I could say the same, but yeah. I'm just teasing.
Off to a good start.
Oh, look, that's what great mates do. Yeah, come on.
100%. No, it's good to be back. You know, like we might normally do so over the phone or wherever we do it, you know. So, yeah, it's good to be in person. And today we've got a big kahuna in. He's founded a coin, actually.
Very nice.
You can call him an official founder of a coin now.
Right.
That I've put a bit into myself and done pretty good out of it. But I've got a million questions for this bloke because I want to know more about the procedure of the founding of coins and whatever. But we'll probably do most of that offline because it'll probably bore the general public. Do you know what I mean? The ins and outs of it. Or we might even do a separate one. I don't know.
Maybe.
But anyway, I know him as the Big J, you know, Jexxa. Right, his name is Jeremy. So what we normally do, like every time, is basically, obviously, this is a crypto show, but obviously, you didn't start in crypto. You didn't sort of leave school and you're a crypto guy, you know. So we'll get a little bit of background about, you know, what you're doing pre-crypto, how you got involved in crypto, and then we'll go into your project itself. And I literally have a million questions about the project. I mean, I've looked into it a fair bit, but there's a lot more than just buying a coin.
Oh, very much. And obviously today, look, it's education. It's not obviously financial advice, but good to find out more and more about it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on again, and great to be live in the studio this time as well. I think this is the first time I've been on camera, so it's a new experience. But yeah,
smile to your adoring public.
Loving the new studios over here.
He's a good-looking rooster. You know, he deserves to be on camera, isn't he?
That's right.
Fire away, man. What do you want to know? So where did I start? Where did I come from? Okay. I'll give you I won't draw it out and make it too long-winded, but I'll give you the quick rundown. My background, after I left school, went into the
close enough.
It's fine.
Went into the technical trade of being an electrician. Soon sort of ventured out of that and ended up in the world of IT, primarily doing security-related work, so systems and network engineering, and done that for about a decade. And sort of really honed my skills in sort of how to look after large organisations security-wise from an IT perspective.
Like commercial?
So I was looking after a whole range of businesses, small and large, but yeah, very much enterprise type level stuff. And got a little bit burnt out from that, I've got to say. It's a pretty hectic industry, and just trying to keep up with all the tech was actually very hard. So I got a little bit burnt out from that. Went my own way, started my own business, or purchased a franchise business, which was a Subway store,
right,
and also running a property development company at the same time. So I sort of had a few. I always classed myself as an investor, so I was never a Subway owner or an IT guy. I had a raft of different things on the go, but they're all to me they were just all investment related.
Yeah.
So I got really down and dirty with how do you raise finance and how do you structure companies and things like that. And then through that sort of industry, so primarily the property development industry would have networking events. And at one of those networking events, someone came up and started talking about this thing called Bitcoin and a thing called Ethereum.
Right.
The Bitcoin thing I'd heard of, but Ethereum was this new beast to me. And they were talking about it, and they put it to me as a world computer that can process financial sort of transactions. And then I had my tech hat on and my investing hat on and went, okay, I can sort of see where this is going. Had someone sit me down and show me how it sort of worked, and I fell deep down into the rabbit hole from that point on.
Okay.
So primarily from a tech point of view, I was interested, but the financing side of it is I could see that was going to be world changing. And
what year was that?
That was late 2016, early 2017.
Okay. It's interesting though, because you have conversations with people about crypto, and some are just so excited about the tech. They love the tech. They love all of that sort of things. And other people just, hey, you know what? how close am I to my Lamborghini?
Yes,
Yeah, that's it.
Like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I've got-
Go up.
Hey, we're all,
that's right.
that's the going
Up and
meme,
right.
isn't it? We're all here for the tech.
That's right. Yeah.
And the reality is most people come for the great gains,
Sure.
and they actually get a really good education on how the world finance
Yes.
really
Mhm.
works.
100%.
And that's the big game changer. Once you peel back a few layers of that onion and you realize how the world actually works, then you realize the importance of primarily Bitcoin. That I
Certainly.
think that's going to is and will continue to play a really big role in world finance and geopolitical power structures. So that's the tip of the iceberg. And then, okay, well, what other cool things can we build with this tech? What other cool things can we build with this tech, and how can we change our relationship with money? So that's really what keeps me going.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's because literally that's what happens with people when they first get into crypto. Generally people will always start with either a complete shitcoin, right? Because a friend has told them all
It's a
about it.
technical term. He uses it all.
Or they start with Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You know, and when they start with Bitcoin, they then sort of go down the big rabbit hole, you know, to take the orange pill, and then all of a sudden they learn this thing called the Federal Reserve, you know, the creature of Jekyll Island, how fractional reserve lending, how it all works. And then not only does that give them, in my opinion, a more realistic view of finance, right? But it also gives them the option of opting out of that system.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. And I think we've had this conversation a few times where I think we're all very much aligned on, we're all big on freedom. So freedom of speech, freedom to transact, which most people don't realize are very linked. So if you take away someone's ability to financially survive, you've just throttled their speech.
Well, to me, freedom of speech is freedom to transact. You know, it's an expression. You know, like, I like what you're doing, I should be able to buy it without people interfering or some sort of, you know, whatever it may be. And that is, you know, like, we all want to be free. Well, I say that, and we just maybe take a big left turn right at the moment. You know, I say that, but I actually don't think that that's true. I think most people like have someone having control over them. You know, it gives them a sense of comfort.
Yeah.
It's the weird misfits like yourself and us and all that sort of stuff that just go, you know what? I don't vote for anyone because you're all scum. You know, like, I'd rather you didn't exist. But then you got people that, hey, Labor Party's awesome, Liberal Party's awesome, and they buy into the narrative, you know?
Yeah, I think if you get me started down that path, for me, it's more about, I think smaller government is better than larger government.
No ifs or buts. You're spot on the mark there. And, you know, sort of further to your point, the fact is, look, being controlled of what you can purchase. You know, there's a social credit system in several different countries in the world. We know that, you know, and we know it's coming our way as well. We know that's the direction. But I sit here and I think to myself, okay, look, I don't know particularly dodgy people. I don't know people who, you know, I don't know criminals or all that kind of care. Well, not that I know of anyway. But from the point of view, but I do know 4 of my friends who have had their bank accounts frozen. Like, really? That is control of a level that just shouldn't be able to happen in this day and age. And government's got far too much reach.
Yep. The removal of cash is a big thing. I think there's, there's national withdrawal days happening in the next day or two where people are encouraged to go withdraw cash out of their bank account just because they can, and because you want to keep that right to be able to do that. And if you don't exercise that right, you will lose it. So that's obviously a big thing.
But once again, even on that, right, this is a protest movement or whatever, you're probably only going to have 1 or 2% of the population that are going to do it.
No, that's true. And I think
it's a minority.
Yeah, but I think what's happening is there's people that we're attuned to this. This is our world. We pay attention to what's going on, what policies are coming, and what things are getting railroaded through government without most people understanding what's actually happened. So mis- and disinformation bills and things like that.
We keep up with it because
that's very much in our circle. We understand, and that's where we really focus on. I can go have a conversation with a group of parents. So my kids go to school. We'll meet up with a bunch of parents. I'll have a chat and I'll say, "Oh, did you we'll start inevitably talking about a little bit of politics, which always goes sideways.
Yeah, not dangerous at all. No.
Yeah.
But I'll say, did you even know that there was this thing called the Mis and Disinformation Bill? No. Do you understand what's going on with the so-called ban on social media to protect kids? And they don't have any clue.
Not a clue at all.
No. So you can't sort of blame anyone for that. It's just that is not put in front of them as an option. Like they don't.
Yeah,
it's
they're
not
also
discussed.
agreed, but they're also being lied to on a on a daily
No,
basis. I mean, I was watching. I literally had a conversation with a relative today, who is absolutely adamant, really angry about Donald Trump's statement this morning about basically some medications and the fact of the vaccines, and he's really, really upset about it, angry as hell. But why is he angry? Because, okay, this covers part of his life. He's got a child with autism, and so he obviously is very passionate about it.
Yep.
But he saw the soundbite.
Yeah.
He saw that. He saw the lie that was being taught. By, so it's very tough for people. Unless we live in an era right now where unless you go and look at you turn away from the corporate media and you look at the free media like ourselves and so many others out there, you just don't know this is really happening.
And so things like your station, they're really important. It's the power's moved from mainstream media out to the edges where your citizen journalism is where the real impact is coming
hence
from.
The name Edge.
Yep.
Boom, boom.
Yep. So it's right out to the edge, and that's where you're getting the truth from because they're not constrained by the overlords that are paying their bills.
That's right.
Yeah.
Paying their advertising.
Yep. So that's where you get the truth. And unfortunately, people are still, like you say, getting sound bites from the radio when they drive to work in the morning or the 7 o'clock news at night. That's where you get your little snippets, and they're not. So a lot of it is straight out lies. A lot of it's lies by omission because they're not actually telling you the truth.
That's right.
Yeah. So unfortunately, that's the world we live in.
Yeah, 100%. And we're going to go into your project in a second,
sure.
but I just want to sort of touch on, the percentages, because I'm always sort of thinking about like how things grow and that sort of stuff. Is like when we started 2016, thereabouts or whatever, it was basically for nerds, people that were buying stuff online,
Okay.
Someone with a neck beard still in their mum's basement, it was very underground, a lot of libertarians, anarchists were right into it, that sort of stuff.
Yep.
Now it's progressed where we've gone from that, and it was a meme back, I think in 17, 18 or something, it was a meme that, banks are going to adopt it, or countries are going to do it as a reserve, and it was all that big narrative. Now that we're seeing that narrative, I'm on 50-50 whether it's a cool thing because I like the anarchist side of things. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Where do you sit with that? It's good for the price.
Yeah. Look, I think it's great that Bitcoin's getting adopted. It's probably not great in the way that it is getting adopted now, where it's getting very centralized. The likes of Strategy, or what used to be MicroStrategy, buying up. I think they got 1% of the supply or something now, something ridiculous.
He bought 1.2 bill the other day.
Yeah, and Tom Lee's just brought, I think, close to 2% of the Ethereum supply.
Right.
And they're buying it in under company structures, calling it a reserve. And the reason why they're doing that is so that other people that are the day-to-day traders or day-to-day speculators that don't know how to use crypto can actually go buy shares in one of these companies and effectively have be long Bitcoin. So they're supporting it in that way.
Yeah. Which is good for people to get in that don't want to have their own wallets or exchanges, that sort of stuff. But it attracts a completely different crowd.
And it's not like, it's great that it's bringing awareness and adoption, but it's not bringing adoption where people are actually using it in the way it's designed to be used, which is have it sitting in your own custody.
Yeah.
And that is freedom money. If you have it locked up in a regulated company, that's not freedom money. That's the same as trying to get your money out of the bank.
Crypto was not about third parties,
It's not about third parties.
Now it is. A portion of it is.
And maybe we have to go down that path to ultimately get Bitcoin to the point where it's large enough, so it's bigger than gold, and possibly even larger, so that countries can't continuously debase their currencies. Maybe we need to go through that process.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm hoping for. Is the transition. But once again, I don't want to digress into this. I want to talk about your project, but you bring it up. Is that I don't think countries will adopt it as a reserve because they can't control it. You know, that's kind of where
I think
I'm
that's
at.
the beauty of it, though. So if you and
The citizens
regardless of your
to.
leaning, or regardless of which way you lean politically, and who, when we look at something like Russia, they had all their assets seized by the US. Why would they want to go back into a system that they can't
That's right.
control their currency? Or
Good point.
And the
point.
petrodollar's been running everything since the end of World War II. It's a very long time, 80 odd years, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, I tip my hat, geez, very unpopular opinion, but I tip my hat to the Russians for the fact that they had, the power and the balls to go forward with the BRICS nations and these other methods, and obviously crypto.
Well, they kind of didn't have a choice, did they?
Yeah.
So this is true. This is true.
You know, screw you guys.
You can't be bullied by the UN forever.
So I only found this out probably a month or so ago. I didn't know that there was, I think there's about 6 or 7 countries, all sort of BRICS types of countries, that have their own shared ledger between them now. I can't remember what it was called now.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's gone out of my head now. Enbridge network. So these guys have actually been transacting in a closed system that sits outside of the US, where they can effectively replace the SWIFT system, which they got booted from. So they've set up their alternative to that, and they've been using it. Now, it's not in full swing yet, but they've used it and it's successful.
Well, do you know that, Jexxa, that 2/3 of the population fits under that BRICS nation?
Yeah.
2/3.
Yep.
So, we're not talking about a fringe thing by any stretch of imagination.
And it'll come from, people will think it has come from left field, but this has been brewing for a long time.
Very long time.
Yeah, that's right. It's just slowly catch the monkey, then it's all of a sudden, isn't it? By the time that we see stuff, it's probably been in the makings for several. It's like with institutions that are buying Bitcoin and crypto and that sort of stuff. It's like it's been announced that they've just bought, such and such bank. That's been in the works for a couple of years.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You don't get a bank manager rock up and go out of the board and go, right, guys, we're buying $1 billion worth of Bitcoin this week. Put up your hands. They've got to do all the research, all the ins and outs, and then they've got to have because you can't just go out and buy $1 billion worth of Bitcoin because you'll just move the price. So they've been slowly accumulating it, So by the time that we see it, it's
and I think a lot of that's been going on. We've obviously big change of the government in the US was obviously positive for crypto because it was very anti-crypto with under Biden. That was a big change with Trump coming in, for better or for worse, however you feel about that. But for crypto, there was a lot of good things that have come out of that, and some more reasonable policies have come out of it. One of which is their stablecoin, the Genius Act.
Yes.
That is a big play. Now, you might think, oh, great, they're all pro-crypto, but the reason they're pro-crypto is the Stablecoin Act, the Genius Act, actually allows everyone around the world to buy these stable coins that can only be linked to US dollars or treasuries.
Right. Yeah.
So therefore they can fund their debt that they've got. So there's a reason why they're doing it.
Yeah. There's a lot of shells being moved around.
That's
Let's be very frank.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Well, let's get into your project now. Just right, we're going to let the hate just go right from the start. It's built on Pulsechain.
Correct. Yes.
A lot of people have some very split opinions about Pulsechain.
Yes.
I've been into Hex since day one in the origin address. I've been in the Pulsechain. I did SAC, the whole 9 yards.
Yep.
Very similar to yourself. I know that you've been in it for a very long time in the Hex community. I like Hex. I like Pulse. Stop throwing things at your computer screen at the moment, please, people. All right. Well, some of them, because it is very divisive. And Richard Hart, the founder of Hex, is very divisive.
Yep. That's an understatement, but
Yes, it is an understatement.
Our followers right now on Twitch are literally pulling their hair out.
I honestly think Pulsechain's got so much potential. I love Hex. I like Richard Hart a lot. I like his values, the whole 9 yards. And you get a lot of people, and I'm crypto agnostic as well. You get a lot of people at XRP Army, the Chainlink Marines, the maxis with Bitcoin, rah. I'm not a Pulse or a Hex maxi. You know what I mean? I like it a lot. There's a lot of my portfolio that is in it. But once again, if information changes, I'll change with the information.
Mhm.
So the first question would be, why did you build it on Pulsechain and not Ethereum or anything like that?
Yep, that's a good place to start. Yeah, I think sometimes we get humans by their very nature are tribal, from global to nation states to your local school to your domestic basketball comp. Like you run it down the line where
we are very tribal.
we're
Great
very
point.
tribal from the top to the bottom, and crypto is no different. Sometimes that's healthy competition. Sometimes we're throwing rocks at each other, but ultimately we're all on the same team.
Yes.
We all believe in freedom to transact, freedom to speech. We're aligned in that regard. Everyone's probably got a slightly different route they're taking to get to that goal.
Yep.
And if you've got a footy team, then you tie it with a financial incentive, people are even more rabid in the way they, more fanatic in the way they approach their support.
Well, not to interrupt, but the example that I always give is this, right? Like when you're riding home from school, when you're a kid, right, and your mate you're riding with, he points to the post over there and goes, I bet you I can get there quicker than you can. You're like, piss off, I'll beat you. And that's how the Tour de France started. Yep. Just from these two lads that you know what I mean, that then grew.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. There's actually a very simple explanation. It's like, when did car racing start? When they built the second one.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
That's perfect.
Hang on. So why I'm on Pulsechain, and this goes back to the chat we just had about the centralization of a lot of things. So big tech got its hands into, or its fingers into, a lot of the crypto projects early on.
Yes.
By the way
especially
of
Ethereum.
venture capitalism.
Sure.
So big guys that obviously funded a lot of stuff in Silicon Valley, seen an opportunity with crypto and reached out to start funding these projects. But when they've done it, they've taken large swags of equity in the underlying foundations that run particular projects.
Okay.
And they get to set the agenda on what's actually going forward. And sometimes it's a big club, and if you're not in that club, it's hard to progress. And Pulsechain very much sits outside of that club. And you can blame it all on because of the founder, but and I don't know if the analogy I made was, do you know Justin Sun?
Yes. Yeah.
So if you were early to crypto and then Ethereum was born, and then Justin Sun came out and said, I'm going to do something similar to Ethereum called Tron. And he was just scammer. He's the biggest scammer. Everyone called him a scammer. He got labeled with that. Today, his chain Tron is the
Telegram.
Way larger than that. So he moves more stable coin.
Telegram. You can exchange on Telegram with Tron.
Yeah. So he moves more stable coin volume. I think he's second only to Ethereum.
Yeah.
And the reason why that is because Ethereum got too expensive to transact on.
Right.
Tron's cheap to transact on. Okay. So in the Asian continent, in India, they love Tron. That's how they transact. They send all their stable coins across that.
Right.
So he found product market fit there. Now, half the people will still think he's a scammer, but the reality is he has produced something that is getting real world use and has found product market fit. When I look at Pulsechain, I see something similar. It's a community of grassroots people that are building this thing. So the VCs aren't in it. It's people that have that passion for they love the tech, but they're more important. They believe in the
principles.
They believe that they've still got that cypherpunk mentality, and that's what they want to see. They want to see something that, that hasn't got the tentacles of VCs in every project, and that sometimes means it's harder to do things on there because you're not as well funded. But the things that are funded are all community driven, and that's how Bitcoin came into existence and how it grew, and that's where I really see the seeds of Pulsechain are at the moment. Is we're in that very, very early innovators stage on Pulsechain. Now, the tech is nothing revolutionary. It was a fork of Ethereum. But the reason it was a fork of Ethereum was because Ethereum was very successful. It was very secure. You can run all these smart contracts and build all these cool tools on it. And you can build the whole stack of what you need to have a financial system. So to have a good financial system, you need payment rails.
Sure.
So I think something like Visa or Swift, that's the base thing. You need the payment rails. That's the actual Pulse chain. You need a unit of account like the US dollars. We've got Pulse, the native currency on Pulse chain. You need a way to be able to transact, so a marketplace. Well, we've got PulseX, that's our DEX where we can trade all these things. Savings accounts, I think that's where Hex falls into.
Yes.
That. So you've built up this stack that can be your financial world, and it's got all the things you need to be able to transact finance.
It has utility.
Yeah, it needs more adoption, but it's got the bones of it. The bones are really, really good, and the community supporting it is probably one of the loudest communities in crypto. So when you look, if you're looking for something that's going to be successful, you've got to. The tech is all the same these days.
Okay.
The thing that makes networks valuable is the community behind them, and there's a law, Metcalfe's law. That's what that actually explains is the value of a network. So the more community members, the more what they call nodes in a network, that increases the value. Okay. So that's why I sort of like Pulsechain. Now my project, which is Vouch, is what we call a liquid staking protocol.
Okay.
So think like Bitcoin, they have miners that run the network and process all the transactions. On Ethereum and hence on Pulsechain, we have something called validators. They do the same thing. They process all the transactions. So when you're pushing your buttons at your computer and I'm sending value from me to you, I'm paying a transaction fee and sending it to the blockchain, and it's these validators that pick up that transaction, approve the transaction, and then all the validators in the network agree that that's the true and accurate version of the blockchain.
It's decentralized spreadsheet.
Yeah, decentralized spreadsheet. So Vouch runs a whole bunch of those validators that is processing all those transactions.
Okay.
I know, you've got one of mine.
Yep. So there's
long story.
It's fine for nerds to run these miners or validators, but it's not easy for the average day person to run the validators. So that's where Vouch sort of fills that niche is.
You need someone who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because problem shooting, you know what I mean? Like power goes there, whatever it may be.
That's
right.
A
lot of things.
I think in really simple terms, okay? We need the guys who sat in the front of the bus to do the work and help the guys who sat in the back of the bus. Because, you know, while we had other priorities, you guys were switched on with the tech and all that kind of carry on. And you're a fool if you think you can be an expert in everything. You've got to actually, be the dumbest guy in the room. Have somebody who actually knows the skills, has the skills, and enlist their work and their ethics as well.
Yeah, and the way I look at this is everyone brings something to the community.
Yeah.
For me, I'm a bit of a nerd. I've got the tech ability, so I bring that side of it.
Front of the bus.
I've got a bit of financial nous there as well, so that helps a little bit. But then we've got other guys like yourself. They're awesome at being upfront and doing live streams and being the marketers. So, but everyone brings something.
Agreed. Very true.
And that's what I really love about the community. If you need something done, you can send out a post and say, look, guys, I need to make this happen. And you will have volunteers come from everywhere. They're actually doing one of the largest in real life promotions at the moment starting in America. And it sounds corny, but it's effective. So they're sending out, I think there's something like 2 million, they're little doodle tablets. So powered by one of those little coin batteries, lasts for years. Doesn't do anything other than you can just sort of like an Etch-a-Sketch. Okay. But it's got some Pulsechain branding on it. Costs 10 cents per device or something like that. But it's pretty cool value and it's going to sit around. It's not something that someone's going to get in the mail and just chuck it straight in the bin. It's actually got a use. So there's this massive real world marketing campaign going on at the moment and all volunteers. So in every city, someone's supplied a delivery van. Right. People have rocked up and they're packing all these things into the delivery envelopes and labeling them all and getting them all out. All totally community driven.
Same thing happened with Hex, with all the billboards and like all the sponsorship. It was all organic.
No one's getting paid to do it. And that's that's what really sends people off the deep edge because they're so used to in crypto especially, people get paid to market everything all the time. Yes. And they can't understand why people just go and do this for free. Flip something in their brain where they think that we're all getting paid for doing all of this. They just can't understand that it's a group of passionate people
And the
well.
organic, when it's
Yeah.
done organically, you actually
Yeah.
create a genuine audience, okay,
Yep.
and genuine consumer base. Not, you're not just marketing or buying particular followers, all this kind
That's
of thing.
right. It's not
more sticky.
transactional.
No,
Yeah.
that's
It's
right.
sticky.
Yeah.
You know?
Everyone's got buy-in to the community because they have contributed their most valuable thing, which is their
Their
attention and their time.
That's right.
So, and that's that goes back to that whole Metcalfe's law, that thing I was talking about. How much value is built into this network is it's not. If you're talking about price, it's not factored into the price yet because there's been so much tech built out, so much attention put into this. Everyone's dedicating time and energy into it, and it's and that's the thing that excites me about it is that community base.
All right, so this vouch thing.
Yep.
All right, because we want to know how to buy Lambos.
Yeah,
That's
so
right.
buy Lambos.
Right.
Yeah, so
Only because they come in fluorescent green.
So I said that we run all the validators, or not all the validators. We run about probably, I'm saying a good 6 or 7% of the validators on Pulsechain at the moment, and that grows daily. But Vouch is essentially a marketplace where people that know how to run validators are on one side of that marketplace, and people that hold liquid Pulse in their wallet that want to get a share of the yield that the chain produces can deposit it into a pool. Validators pick it up from that pool, put it to work, get paid the yield for doing the real work, and then that gets shared between the validators and the
And to break it
stakers.
down and simple, like if you had now these are round figures, 100 Pulse, and you put in one, right? That would mean that you would get 0.1% of anything that they generate.
No, you're getting me on the numbers, but so to put it in simpler terms, if you put Pulse into Vouch, currently the APR is about 15%. So that's how much return you're getting on your deposited funds at this point in time.
Okay.
Now I guess the beauty of that is it's a speculative asset, so it's got a bit of volatility in the price, so that could go up potentially in value, and your 15% has a multiple of the price.
If it goes up
as well.
40% in a year, you've actually got your percentage, but also the price.
Why are we talking 40%?
What's going on,
That's
mate?
numbers for ants.
Very true.
Hey, you've been buying stocks on the ASX. I mean, come on, mate.
We're not in this for 40%.
We're into the times here. We're into the multiples.
40x.
Yeah, 40x. That sounds a little bit more realistic.
So but you get 40x on top of the extra coins that you got. You know what I mean? So you're like $1,000. If you get a 10% return, you'll get $100. You know what I mean?
Exactly,
but now you're getting 10% more.
So that's why we're all in it for the tech, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's right. All about the tech and up to the right.
But that's look. If you can build a new financial system but grow your wealth whilst you're doing it, isn't that where you want to be?
Mate, never apologise for making a living.
No.
If you are adding value to the world, it's a very positive thing. And right now, I mean, for the last how many years, 120-ish years, we've been running under, this other system, which has not served us very well at all. It served a very small amount of people very well.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's hampered countries. It's caused a lot of poverty. It's caused a lot of, just deaths and horrible things through society. It's really shocking
war.
stuff. War. A lot of that. A lot of war.
Inflation, you wouldn't have war.
That's right. So no, never apologise for the fact that you're working on something that's getting a better alternative.
So what is Vouch for?
What is it for?
Sorry, I didn't want to. If you can pick it up where you left off, but that's the kind of the question is it Vouch is spelled VOUCH. Vouch. Right. It's built on Pulse. Like I said, full disclosure, I bought some. I think it's a great project. Not shilling, just telling you what I think. Don't care what you do. Big internet world out there. Cool. So, it's competing with other cryptos, that have utility and that sort of stuff. So it has to have something that's unique that you're bringing to the table. Yeah. What would that be?
Okay. Yeah. So what I just described was the liquid staking component of Vouch, and that's been up and running for 9 months, 10 months.
By liquid staking, you mean that you can go in and out as you please as opposed to a staking period?
Yeah, so people come and deposit their Pulse, and not only so they deposit their collateral, but they actually get something back in return for that represents that value of the collateral. So that's the liquid component. So you get the benefit of depositing your Pulse, but still having access to the liquidity in your wallet so you can go off and do other things in the DeFi world. And that's probably getting a little bit into the weeds for this sort of conversation, but that's the liquid staking component. Recently, so 3 or 4 weeks ago, we launched the actual vouch token, which is that was phase 2 of the vouch ecosystem. And the vouch token is what we call the value capture token. So all the value that we're building in the vouch ecosystem, it stays locked in that ecosystem. And holding the vouch token gives you the benefit of that value that's captured in there. Okay. So it's not a great, like, I guess if you'd wanted to put it into traditional finance terms, it's like having shares in a company that's doing something. Now, it's not shares because we're not securities and yada, yada, yada. I don't want to go down. That is where the similarities end. But yeah, think of value capture as if you hold that token, you get to participate in the value that's generated and held in that protocol. Well, so it's got that value capture component, but it also allows, so in phase 3, will allow people who hold that token to actually have a say in what goes on in the ecosystem.
Yep. Right.
So it's a DAO basically.
Yeah, so it's a DAO where you can, so a DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. Yep. So basically it allows you to have a voting right in what switches and dials are changed on the protocol. So it gives you not only the benefit of the value capture, but some say in the governance of the protocol.
Yeah, and what direction maybe, or
so that's the world we're building in crypto. Is we're taking the concepts of building these financial rails and building all the financial tools, but the people that use them are effectively the owners. The wrong word, but they effectively capture all the value that's built in these networks. Okay, so it's not leaking out to companies and their shareholders and
carry on.
Yep. So it's not going to the 0.1% of the population. It's staying in the hands of the actual grassroots community.
Yep.
So that's why we build these protocols in this sort of way on these networks.
And speaking of early adoption of it and that sort of thing, is the onboarding rail and offboarding rail, which is a bit clunky at the moment, you might say, because one, you've got to purchase Pulse.
Yep.
By buying something like Ethereum or a stable coin, putting it on a DEX, wrapping it.
You've already lost me.
Swapping.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, no,
but there's ways of doing it. What would be the most simplest way? Like if I'm sitting there on my phone at the moment or on a computer, what would be the simplest way to be able to buy vouch?
To be able to buy vouch, you're right. It's a bit of a two-step process at the moment. Probably within the next couple of weeks, that will get down to a one-step process.
But that's what I said before you go going into that. But this is what you're saying is what I'm saying is early investing. Right? Because it's not out on major exchanges yet. Right? It's not out on what we call SEX, centralized exchanges. It's all on DEXs, decentralized exchanges. So it's like so early that it's not even on centralized exchanges. Once it gets adopted eventually with 2 or 3 years time or whatever it may be on centralized exchanges, that's when it's up and to the right big time, because it has more exposure.
Yeah, and
at the moment it's more for crypto people and people that are into it. Would you sort of say that?
Yeah. So like I said, Pulsechain is very much grassroots. It's very much not in the pockets of all the VCs, and hence getting listings on exchanges.
You can pay for that, pay to play.
They're very much pay to play, and we don't like paying these people in coins that will just get sold back on their head. So we don't pay for mainstream advertising in terms of giving people tokens that just get dumped on people's heads. Like we're ethical in the way we want to do that. We don't want to just give people, like, that's probably one of the worst things about crypto is the way that industry's structured, where you've got so-called influencers that are promoting to their user base, their followers, or whatever you want to call them, friends these days.
Yeah, by selling their bags that they've been given.
That's right. So they promote something, and on the back end, they're dumping on top of the people they're promoting to. So we're very much want to sit outside of that. So the cost for us is a bit more friction to get in at the moment.
Okay.
Yep. But that is the opportunity. So when Bitcoin had maximum friction, that was when
the best time to
buy it. So you've got to, if you want to be someone that's part of that innovator wave, you've got to wear that friction. That's the cost of entry. If you can figure
It's
out how to
second
do
nature for me to do it.
Oh, for me, it's,
You know?
I don't
Yeah.
see it as hard. And I actually,
Yeah.
I rarely touch a bank or a centralized exchange
Yep.
these days.
Okay.
I've
Yep.
just gotten so used to doing everything on chain and in the
Yeah.
DeFi world that it feels foreign to me to go to a centralized exchange now.
Agreed.
And I hope everyone eventually gets to that phase, but you've got to walk through that door first of all.
Yeah, and the tech changes over time, and like
Yeah.
you said, it's a two-stage process at the moment. It'll become a one-stage.
Yeah.
It's just things have to evolve.
Yep.
But the biggest gains, in my opinion, it's getting at the ground level. Let's face it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly right.
So I'm just conscious of time.
Mhm.
So what's the easiest way?
Okay. So if you're new to crypto and you want to participate in Pulsechain, then if you go to pulsechain.com, from there you can see the avenues of how you can get into Pulsechain. So there's a few, you can buy with a credit card and get straight into the ecosystem. There's a few ways you can do that. If you're already crypto native and you're on another chain like Base or Ethereum or Binance, once again, go to pulsechain.com and you'll see ways where you can what we call bridge straight into Pulsechain.
Okay.
Once you're there, vouch.run. If you go to vouch.run, basically that's our landing page, and from there you can jump out to every corner of our ecosystem.
Right.
I think it's way too hard to go into too many more
there's
details.
a few
than that.
moving parts.
Yeah. And I think I'd lose too many people, but pulsechain.com to get on the Pulse chain, vouch.run to understand more about Vouch.
Yeah, cool. Well, because speaking of that is, you know, obviously you would as well. We get approached by a lot of different cryptos to promote because we're in the industry, that sort of stuff. This is the first time I've ever even discussed a single coin, you know, on anything. You know, one, because I know you personally, and, you know, and he's a fucking cool dude. But I just know your honesty, you know, and I've looked at the project as much as I can, you know, and I'm balls deep. You know, I just think it's great. And there's so much I want to ask you about, like, but once again, we'll probably do it off air. It's like, I mean, talk about secret squirrels. I know this guy personally, and, you know, I regard him as a good close mate. You know what I mean? Didn't tell me any of this while he's building it. You know, kept me in the dark, you know.
Oh, mate.
But no promises or expectations.
You got to build the suspense, right?
How many times have I spoken? Because when he launched it, I rang him up and I'm like, "What's going on, brother? What about the insides?"
Just to clarify something, pulse.run.
Pulsechain.com.
Okay, well, I've gone too far. Yep. All
and then vouch.run is my project.
Okay, no problems. We'll get some links and things.
Happy to provide some links.
That'd be fantastic.
Like and that's very much, they're your entry points, but at least go and have a look and drop your preconceptions about which footy team you go for and start opening up your eyes a little bit and having a look what's going on, because like they do in mainstream media, you get sound bites. The same thing happens in crypto with the mainstream. Crypto's got a mainstream media as well.
That's right.
So you've got to dig a little bit deeper than that first layer to get the actual truth of what's going on.
I 100% agree. If anyone wants to get into it and a little bit, is go to orangebrickroad.com.au. You can book a free 15-minute call with me as well, so I can sort of walk you through it or put you in touch if you want to put bigger bags into it, something like that. And all the links, because this is getting repeated again on Sunday?
It certainly is,
Sunday, but I'll have it up obviously on my YouTube with all the links and links to Mr. Jexxa over here, all that sort of jazz as well.
I'm not big on the influencer thing, and I've watched. Funny enough, just yesterday I was watching a influencer who was pushing a particular kind of crypto, and you think to yourself, like, you know, how much have you got skin in the game, right? And I'm very comfortable to say, I bought a little bit, just a little bit. You know, I want to test it out, but that's my hunch, and knowing you, and basically, you know, the validation. You know, you've given it Orange Brick Road there, Brandon. You know, you deal with people who have got very good ethics and are trying to build something very.
It has to be red pilled, man.
You
know what I mean? Just have to be.
It's the first rule.
Exactly. And unfortunately, for better or for worse, that's one of the narratives of crypto this cycle is what they call the subscriber coins, where people go and buy off the back of someone's. They've got some level of fame's not even the right word. They've got some level of following, some level of influence on a social media platform. They fire up a coin which takes them all of 20 minutes to create. And the chart is literally a 15-minute chart where massive run up, and the people that have created it just dump all their coins on top of the people that have just purchased it. So they're so-called followers or subscribers.
Sure.
That's the nature of crypto. How it's been.
It is, but it's also the nature of ethics. It's something that I would never do, right? But I know I can, right? And the other one is because I get 3 to 5 minimum calls a week by people who've been scammed in crypto. I could run the best crypto scams ever because I've seen them all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I know all the ins and outs and how they work. And you and I could do something like that, you know, and probably make a lot of money. Yeah. But I just wouldn't be able to live with myself.
No, how do you? Yeah. But on on the other side, I mean, the girl that was doing the promoting, very pretty, very pretty. I mean, geez, I fall for that in a second. And there lies the problem, right? Like, do your research, talk to people, get the education, do the right thing.
I've seen something scary today.
Oh, really?
So AI has now come so far that I can be sitting here moving all my arms and talking.
Yep.
But the vision you're seeing on the screen is some busty lady, scantily clad, and her mouth's moving in sync with what I'm saying, my hands, and you cannot tell the difference. It is crazy now. So,
and it was only 3 or 4 months ago where that technology was there, but it was clunky.
Yep.
Now it's like you can't tell.
So basically, you cannot take anything on face value online.
No. Do your research. Education, mate. Look, what's the name of your site again?
orangebrickroad.com.au for everything in crypto. Go hard, peeps.
And with that, let's get out of here. Thanks for being part of the Crypto Hour of Power here on Edge Radio Australia.